So you will have heard a little announcement saying the session is being recorded. We had quite a few people sign up, and a lot of people can't make it on the day, so we'll have a recording. I'll send an email through the central system to everyone who registered for all of our PG Open series, so you can watch this. You could watch the MSc Biochemical Engineering or the MRes Synthetic Biology ones as well. So whilst I'm going to give we're going to give people a few moments to log in. Whilst that's happening, I'll just quickly talk through the system. So I'm going to set a couple of things up. So bear with me one moment. Okay. So introductions. My name is Kim. I'm the Outreach and Communications Coordinator at UCL Biochemical Engineering, and it's great to have you with us on what in London here is a dark, wintry night. Not too cold. It's been quite bright out there in the day, so it's going to be quite cold tonight. So this is the virtual open series session to talk about the MSc, the Manufacturing Commercialisation of Stem Cell and Gene Therapies MSc program. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hand over to my colleagues Rana and Bernice in a moment. But first of all, I'm just going to explain to you how the platform works. So you'll have noticed that you've got a little row of buttons at the bottom there, so you can use the chat function to talk to me and Ron and Bernice. If you have any technical problems or any questions, put them in the chat. You can use the Q&A function as well if you want to. That's quite a good way of doing it. If you want to reorder the screen, you can actually configure it so that you have the main speaker or myself, Ron and Bernice, at the same time. It depends what kind of device you're watching us on and where you are. So I'm going to hand over to Rana, who's going to give you an introduction to the program. We've set aside an hour to cover any questions that come in, but once we finish this presentation, we'll answer any questions, all questions that come through. But if there are any further questions, we'll let you go a bit early. But I do want to take an opportunity to shamelessly plug some of the things that we've got coming up here at UCL Biochemical Engineering in the spring. We've got we do a series of virtual taster lectures every year. And this year we've got a really exciting series because it's our 200th anniversary at UCL. It does mean that at the moment we're very much getting our campus ready for this celebration, so it's very difficult to get around physically. But for the webinar, that won't be a problem for you because it's all online. We're doing cell-free synthesis, so really exciting area of vaccine manufacture. Some work on lab-grown meats. Some other interesting areas of vaccine processing, and Rana's going to be doing a session on stem cell and gene therapies. So it's a really exciting series. I'll pop a link to that in the chat. You're more than welcome to sign up to that. It'd be lovely to see you. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Rana Khalife, who's going to introduce the program. Bernice is also on hand as well to answer any questions and talk about the program. Rana, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Kim, for the lovely introduction. As Kim mentioned, we have exciting events happening to celebrate UCL 200. So always check our website or follow us on LinkedIn or any other kind of platform, Instagram and Twitter as well. So my name is Rana Khalife. Kim always know how to pronounce my last name, although it's tricky, but thank you, Kim. So I'm an associate professor in teaching in the department. I'm the chair of recruitment. I'm the region med coordinator within the faculty as well. And the most important thing, why am I here, is because I'm the MSc program director and admission tutor for this program. So before I start, I'm gonna hand in to Bernice to introduce herself, and then I'm gonna have a small presentation. It's not gonna be too much information because I want to answer your questions. So Bernice.
Okay. Thank you, Rana. Thank you, Kim. My name is Bernice. I'm a teaching lecturer on the MSc Cell and Gene Therapy MSc, and yeah, I lead two of the modules on the MSc, and my main role is to help you engage with the teaching and to enjoy the MSc. So.
Thank you, Bernice. So before start talking about the program, I just want to briefly highlight UCL and the way of thinking, because if you look into our title, is more about commercialization and manufacturing. So we're combining different kind of perspective. And for us, it was always inspired by this gentleman who's the spiritual founder of UCL, Jeremy Bentham, because he introduced something called the disruptive thinking, where we were the first in England to welcome students in different coming from different religion and social background, to welcome women in education, and even try to kind of have different kind of approach like art and science. We have a department of art and science. So why UCL? Because we are one of the world leading universities. We're top 10 in the world. We have a really good impact on top rated UK university when it comes to research and teaching strength as well. We have more than 40,000 students, and then we have a good balance between when it comes to women and men in terms of undergrad, postgraduate, and even teaching as well. So basically, we are based in the main campus. So feel free to join us in the open days, PG open days as well. So we're based in Bernard Katz building. We celebrated more than 20 years of divorce from Kemanj. And then recently, 2 years ago, UCL launched a new campus at UCL East, called UCL East at Stratford, near Queen's Olympic Park. We initially have two kind of like buildings, but the idea is to build more buildings. And this kind of MSc we've launched during the pandemic, basically. But 2 years ago, it was selected one of the MSc to go to be based at UCL. So basically, this MSc is based at UCL East. Although we're a small department, but we really have more than 40 academics and teaching staff in the department. And although we're a small department, you're going to see that our area of research is basically different. So this is what I told you. We are based at UCL East, and hopefully we're going to see more of the buildings over there. So far we only have Marshgate and then one full street, but the idea is to have really these kind of additional building at Stratford. Now, why the department? Because basically we have different kind of like hubs. So manufacturing future, healthcare manufacturing hubs is coming to an end, but we have other kind of like vaccine hub, sustainable, we have two vaccine hubs basically, and one for sustainability as well. We have plastic hub. So we collaborate with a lot of companies as well. So we have the Center of Excellence with GSK, MedImmune, and Pol or Cytiva. So basically, we are heavily linked to industry, which is a good thing. That means it is reflected in our teaching, in our link as well when it comes to undergrad or even PhD. So now I'm going to focus on the MSc. But for example, for the undergrad during their 4th year of MNG, they can do year in industry. With PhD, if it's sponsored by industry, we call it NGD. And they work basically on a process, optimize the process, or optimize something for the industry. So now I'm just going to focus about this kind of like MSc. So why we've launched this kind of program. It's kind of a newish program because we've been there for 5-6 years from the pandemic. So basically, it's one of its kind. Why? Because we are combining manufacturing and commercialization. And why do we need this? And this was highlighted by the commissioner of FDA, Scott, basically, because he said that we have the technology, we have the product that can treat people, but one of the most important challenges is how to make this at a larger scale, okay? So how can you take this kind of discovery, this kind of like idea, and scale it up at manufacturing scale? So we're missing this, and we're missing people with having this kind of like mentality to overcome these kind of challenges. Not only this, we really lack expertise, especially when it comes to bioprocessing. So how can you manufacture instead of having all of these people working in the same hood, having contamination, which is the risk of contamination, for example, how you can optimize this? How can you automate this? How can you lower the cost of manufacturing as well? So I was in a meeting in Catapult before the pandemic, and they were saying that so it was kind of like a meeting between academia and industry, and they were saying that, okay, we need around 400 people with bioprocessing background to fill the gap that the industry needs. After the pandemic, and these are the results from after the pandemic, this has shifted. And they said, now we need approximately 6,000 jobs to fill the gap that the industry has needs. So this kind of area is booming. We need more expertise. We need more people with this kind of bioprocessing and manufacturing background. Now, why we've launched it at UCL? Basically, UK is leading on the number of trials when it comes to clinical trials. And UCL, basically, if you compare it to other kind of institute, is leading on that as well. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of links with industry. We have good research frame as top 2. And then we have the knowledge exchange framework. We are top 2 as well. And as I mentioned, we have several kind of like grants and collaboration with different companies. And we have a lot of spin-out company from UCL, and we have a lot of spin-out company from the department itself, like Purify, for example, like Ori Biotech, for example. I don't know if you heard about Autolus when I speak about CAR T therapy. Autolus is a spin-out company from UCL, and they just got the first FDA approval for their CAR T product last October, which is something really big for the UK because it's the first CAR T approved product in the UK from a UK company. So when it comes to this program, it's 1 year. So expecting you to start in September, it will end in September. And basically, we are empowering 2 types of leaders, scientific and manufacturing leaders and scientific and technology business leaders. When we first drafted this with, so Professor Qasim Rafiq, he was the first to draft this kind of program. We had industrial committee members that I will show you in a bit coming together, and we've asked them, what do you want from a fresh graduate? Okay, how do you want to us to teach the students? How do you want us to assess the students? So we had a lot of feedback from the industry to shape the content of this kind of program. Plus, what the industrial committee members do, they deliver lecture, they host research project, they host a site visit, they come to attend some kind of like event that we have, like the Dragon Den and the poster session. And the most important thing, they agree to be as a mentor, to act as a mentor to our students, which is a good thing. So the students can ask them about their CV, about their career, about what to do next after the graduate. So because we really want after this, and most of the students, more than 80% of the students before they graduate from us, they secure a job. And basically, it's basically some of the companies that we collaborate with. So for example, today, in one of the course, which is emerging tools, I have Tom Heathman from Ori Biotech, and he was telling me that he's still looking after his mentee over the last 5 years. So he was telling me, I have more than 20 still in contact with me. And he has some students who graduated from our first cohort. They're still working with him at Ori. Okay, so about this program, you have 6 compulsory modules. You don't have electives, okay? So the advanced therapies is basically term 1 and 2. And then in term 1, you will have the preclinical, clinical, and the emerging tool. Term 2, you will continue with the advanced therapies, but you will have the commercialization module and then the core practical research skills to prepare you for the research project. So usually the research project, I say term 2, 3, but basically it's after you finish term 2 that you start actually working on it. So it's usually from end of March till August. Over the last 3 years, I've secured some placement in industry. And these are kind of like big companies as well that I will share in a bit. So with the normal traditional style of teaching, you have case lectures, seminars, etc. For us, what we've introduced is more about the students leading on this. Is kind of more workshop. So for example, in the commercialization module, you will be working on something. It could be a process, it could be a tool, it could be a product. And then you have to pitch this. And then the way you pitch it is you pitch it to our industrial committee members as a dragon then. For example, with the core practical, you will go to the lab at the end, last week of term. But within the weeks, you can use a virtual simulator, which is called Labster, to prepare you to the lab settings and how to passage and so on. These are like images from, this is the second cohort that we had when they went to see site visits in Mira GTX. Over here is cell and gene therapy. Now, when it comes to steering committee, we started with approximately 10, 11. Now we have more than 18, 19. So it's chaired by Dr. Sven Kili. He was the VP of Cell and Gene GSK. We have Dr. James Miskin. He was at Oxford Biomedica. And we have all of these big people, basically, that they have the knowledge to put and to give to our students as well as we have new committee members as well joining us this year. This is the feedback that I got from the students after they've been mentored from our steering committee, that it was really beneficial for them to contact someone in industry, very senior, and to give them kind of like advice on tailoring their CV or which kind of job you can get in industry, because you can get different jobs in industry. So this is some of the MSc students, not all, because we have a lot. When they finish graduating, they just basically went and work with our spin-out companies or the companies that we collaborate with. So I told you I will be quick today, so I'm not gonna give a long presentation because I just want to answer if you have any kind of questions. So I'm not sure if some question went through or not yet.
I mean, I just put a couple of questions in the chat because these are ones that people sent in beforehand. They couldn't make it, so they've asked that it could come up. So the first one is, what kind of careers do your graduates go on to, especially as this program's been running a couple of years now, so we're actually getting some data in.
I mean, there's no definite answer. So for example, I'm going to give you an example that I always give. From the first cohort, I had the students, because in one of the lectures, we touched base on IP and intellectual property. And he liked the idea. So he went and studied 1 year law, and now he's an IP consulting, for example. Even within industry, because we touch base on different kind of aspect, some of them, they will be working as a scientist, some of them as process engineer, some of them in R&D, some of them in manufacturing, some of them in project management, and some of them in business plan. Because in the commercialization, when they start to build their business plan, they like it. So now they do kind of like a business plan in industry. Some of them, they stayed with us and do PhD like a lot of students do as well. How hard it is to continue from CGT MSc to do a PhD? What funded opportunities come up? Now, the good thing is usually for every single cohort, I create kind of like a LinkedIn group. So whenever I see kind of like an opportunity in terms of work or PhD, I post it on there and I tell the students to apply. It's very easy. And we have a lot of students, more than like each year we have 1 or 2 students staying with us to do a PhD. It depends on the funding opportunity. This kind of funding opportunity changes from 1 year to another, to be honest. So I cannot give a definite answer. But usually we have a PhD and then we advertise it to our student. What if I don't have the same chemistry, biology degree background as other students? Well, I had students from McKench with 0 biology background. So it shouldn't be the case because we always start with the basic and then the material will start to build up. Even if you don't have any background on bioprocessing or, for example, commercialization and business plan, we always start from the scratch. So this shouldn't be a problem. So what kind of access do we get to the labs? What are they like? So the way this kind of program is that you will go to the lab in term 2, the last week of term, because we created this kind of like scenario where you have IPSCs, we differentiated, and then so basically you will be trained on doing cell culture, passaging, and then do some of the analytics like immune staining, PCR, flow, and so on. So the students will go in the core practical skills the last week of term. But if you choose to have a research project lab-based, you will end up doing a lot of lab work from basically from April till August.
I just want to jump in and say that we're in the process of organising this, so we can't offer booking at the moment, but there's going to be an in-person day on the 25th of February. It's going to be really good fun because we're going to invite all our current students along. It's going to be a bit of a celebration of UCL East and all the programs that we run there, and I reckon Bernice might be coming along with some of the resilience stuff. It'd be really good to see some of the VR headsets and stuff like that. But we're going to be inviting current students along. We're going to be opening up to our final year students as well. But we're also going to be inviting anybody who's interested in the programs and UCL East. It should be a really good fun day. Lots going on, lots of demos, lots of chance to meet current students, ask them what they think, which is really important. So if you're signed up through the UCL system, you will get an invitation to that. And it'd be great to see you in person and show you around our labs. So those are all the questions that we've had come in. I'm just going to give people a chance to ask any more questions. If there's anything you want to ask. And also, what I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to pop my email address in the chat, because if you think of a question which you forgot to ask, then you can send it on to me. I'll forward it on to Rana. If it's not something for Ryan to answer, I can forward it on to somebody else. I'm more than happy to pass things on to other people. And just a reminder that we do have our virtual open series in February, in March. It's the last week of March, so 23rd, finishing off on 30th, and I think I can't remember off the top of my head which one Rana's doing, but it's some really exciting programs. One of our postgrad researchers, Ben, is going to be doing one on the history of lab-grown meat, which is really exciting stuff. And being biochemical engineering, there's a huge crossover between stem cell gene therapies, lab-grown meat. You know, a lot of technological advances, a lot of the challenges, and the laboratories we use are the same as well. So it's a chance to find out about the other really exciting stuff we're doing. I mean, stem cell. Cell-free vaccine manufacturing, again, I think it's something which might be of interest to people who are watching this. But we've come to the end of our questions. We've finished our presentation, so I'm going to finish this off by saying a huge thank you to Bernice, a huge thank you to Rana, and a huge thank you to everyone who's watched this, and especially if you're watching and recording this. Please do get in touch if you have any questions. But apart from that, thank you very much and have a great day.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.